Buying real estate is a bad investment right now. There's no sugarcoating that. You can make more money by owning US Treasuries, short-term US Treasuries. Real estate's a bad investment.
How's it going, fellas? It's your boy, Mike, the duly elected sheriff of the internet, here to expose Reventure Consulting. Another fake expert, another YouTube poser, another non-investor who doesn't own property, can't produce receipts for his real estate success or lack thereof, and has no pedigree to point you to. Knowledge and experience? Who needs it? A proven track record of success from investing in real estate? Why bother? When you could just Google a couple of charts and read some scary headlines and portray yourself as a cutting-edge data analyst, able to see what you mere mortals only wish you had the ability to discern. Guys like these love to act like they're the next Michael Burry or Peter Schiff, prophetically preaching about the coming crash. However, it seems that these false prophets are typically motivated by real profits, and that's where their loyalties lie. Yet somehow they manage to garner a massive audience to listen to their sermons week after week, calling for a crash, and week after week being wrong. Well, why not delete a few videos, cherry pick the stats, and just keep crying wolf? I mean, eventually when the big bad wolf finally does turn up, you could sit there content and say, you see, after 200 videos and 2+ years of calling for a 20, 30, or even 50% crash in prices, they finally dipped by 5% in a few select markets, but not coming to a market near you anytime soon. Now, instead of paying for a $500,000 house at a 3% interest rate, you can pay for a $495,000 house at a 6.5% interest rate. My work here is done. Now, I'm sure that these crash bros just want to help you. It couldn't possibly be that they figured out that the YouTube algorithm, combined with humans' own natural proclivity towards negativity bias, Google the term, will allow them to blow up big time on a very lucrative platform. If they just say bad, bad, bad over and over and over again, they get the views, and you get taken for a ride. Look, I'm sure that they aren't financially motivated at all. I'm sure these guys would never just feed you fear only to sell you security down the line later. I mean, come on, look how earnest this guy looks. He's definitely not taking advantage of you. He's definitely on your side. Now look, remember, as your fake expert detective, in this video I'm going to help you discover enough specific articulable facts that would lead an average layperson to develop enough reasonable suspicion about this guru's arguments to call foul. And maybe I'll even bring forth enough evidence in my case for you to believe that there is probable cause to make a concrete judgment on your end as to whether or not you want to continue watching this crash bro. As always, when I make one of these types of videos exposing a fake guru or wantrepreneur, I have to be very careful with what I say, because they love to start lawsuits and harass and intimidate tiny creators like me who dare cry out against them. So words like scam, liar, or charlatan, you gotta be really careful with those. Instead, I just have to say, I think he's wrong. Here's the evidence as to why I think he's wrong. Please come to your own conclusions. That's on you. Now, before you guys hit me with the old shut up, Mike, you're just professionally jealous that this guy's clearly a better YouTuber than you. What credibility do you have? Let me head you off at the pass. I own 10 rentals in 3 markets: Seattle, Washington, Chicago, Illinois, and Gary, Indiana. I've documented the entire journey of becoming a real estate investor on my YouTube channel, from way back to before when I bought my very first rental, all the way to where I'm at right now, crushing it, nearing retirement and financial freedom at 32 years old. Now, I've been studying the real estate markets since 2010, and while typically I wouldn't say that something like studying the markets is particularly impressive, I would rather have real concrete proof of success. Nick from Reventure Consulting claims that his studying of the market since 2010 is his basis for success. So if you think it's good enough for him, then it should be good enough for your boy. Personally, this is just me, I think the results that I have in rentals, cash flow, equity paydown, property appreciation, tenants placed, and a portfolio built give a little bit more legitimacy to my opinion, but you know what? Hey, different strokes for different folks, am I right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna watch some of Reventure's videos. We're gonna react to them. We're gonna look at some of his data points and we're gonna react to them. We're gonna listen to his point of view and then take a look at some other data and see if you think there's a little bit more to the story than just what Reventure Consulting is cherry picking out of the headlines to bring to YouTube. What are his claims? Are they right? Are they wrong? Why would someone potentially mislead an audience or just focus in on the negative headlines? Is it maybe because it's really easy to grow a YouTube audience like that? Get a whole bunch of money coming your way? Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he really is just a prophet with a discerning eye and the keen ability to see what you and I could only ever hope to. Why don't we jump in with some of his content? So we're going to start with some excerpts from one of his most recent videos where he was a guest on another YouTube channel. I actually like this other YouTube channel, even though they do typically focus on doom and gloom type economic news. I still like them. So it makes sense why they would have a doom and gloom real estate guy on to give his opinions. But let's listen to what he's saying right now at the end of 2022.
Then the cap rate and the return and the income they're actually getting from renting out the property. So a lot of these investors are already losing money, not just on the appreciation going down, but on cash flow after paying their lender. And to me, this segues into the biggest story I think in the housing market right now is the declining rental market. Because if you're an investor, whether you're big or small, you can get your mind around the idea maybe, prices are going to go down 15, 20%. And maybe you like that as an investor. You're like, you know what, I'm going to buy at a 20% decline. But if rents continue to go down, which we just had back-to-back months of some of the biggest rent declines in the last decade, if that continues, well, then it's a huge problem for investors because they don't even know what to pay or how to buy an asset because they don't even know what they're going to be able to rent it for tomorrow. And so that to me is one of the biggest stories that's not getting enough attention in the housing market is this rental market is declining. Rents are going down and they're going down fast.
Yeah, so he goes on later to talk about how the rental rates are collapsing. He's saying it right here. We had back-to-back huge rental decreases. Well, yeah, technically you're right. But can we dig a little bit deeper? Does this actually mean what his analysis of the situation was investors are panicking because they can't figure out how to project their expenses if they don't even know what a property is going to rent for? Why don't we take a look at the actual rental declines? Let's see what all the hubbub's about. Rent prices fall for a third straight month in November. Okay, all right, rents are coming down. They fell nationally by 0.59%, which is the third largest monthly cut since 2010. So you're telling me a 0.59% drop in rental prices is what has investors in a panic? Because they can't project their numbers. Now, let me remind you, rents were increasing 20, 30, 40% over the last year or two. You think if we give back 0.59%, that is gonna make or break my investment? What are you talking about? Let's do a little quick math here. If you have a unit that's listed for $1,000 a month in rent, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could actually find things like that anymore? But let's just, for easy math, $1,000 a month in rent. A 0.59, but not even 1% drop in the price. A 0.59% drop is, we'll round up, $6. So if it was listed for $1,000 a month, you would have to relist it at $994 a month. I don't know any investor, even the bad ones, where a $6 drop per $1,000 rent price is going to be what makes or breaks them. Okay? Rent decreases are common. If you look at this article, it is common. However, they're saying it isn't just seasonality. Yes, this is slightly more of a decrease at this time of year than is typically projected and what typically happens because of seasonality. Guess what? Nobody likes to move out of their units around Christmas time. However, this is a long way away from what I would consider something that would concern me as an investor, especially coming on the heels of astronomical, unprecedented, previously never before seen rent hikes over the last year or two. I had units that were renting for $800, $900, $1,000 that are now renting for $1,200, $1,300, $1,400. I had 20, 30, 40% rent increases across my portfolio, as did almost every single landlord that I network with. I talked to people on the West Coast, the East Coast, and the Midwest who own collectively hundreds and hundreds of units. And no one is experiencing rent declines. Dana, the CEO of Hemlane, did a recent interview with a friend of mine, Dion, from the YouTube show Dion Talk. She manages 18,000 rental properties. So far in year 2022, she has not released a unit at less than what it was previously leased for.
I have Dana, the CEO of Hemlane, who has a system where she interacts with over 3,000 property owners, who has over 18,000 rentals in her system, and I think has a better feel for what's going on with rents. So Dana, are you seeing rents come down?
So the one-liner is absolutely not. We have seen renewals. Some renewals just renew at the same exact rate. I have not seen, out of 18,500 rentals that we have, that they have actually decreased the rent. And this is across the nation. Even in California, where I am, where there's a max exodus and they're leaving California, I still have not seen those rental rates go down even today.
Not one single unit in 18,000 was rented for less than what it was rented for previously. Now, I'm not disagreeing that rents are coming down. They are. But let's dig even deeper, because again, he's all about data. He's all about the analysis. So let me give it to you. Where are prices actually dropping? It's occurring, rent drops are occurring in larger apartment buildings for a couple of different reasons. There's a bunch of factors that are playing in. Number one, with the artificial rent increases because of inflation and stimulus checks and things like that, a lot of builders said, hey, apartments are popular. Let's put a bunch of syndications together. Let's project the same type of 10, 15, 20, 30% rent growth that we just experienced. Let's project that moving into the future, which is stupid because it's not going to happen again at that rate. And it shouldn't happen again at that rate. I don't want it to. It's not healthy for the economy. Let's build a bunch of new apartments, bring them to the market. Oh, would you look at that? We're not able to lease as many. Why? Because they're being outcompeted by single-family homes. A lot more single-family homes are being brought to the market. And if you have the choice of a 3-bed, 1-bath apartment or a 3-bed, 1-bath single-family home, where would you want to live? More privacy, better parking. Everybody wants to live in a single-family home. And guess where rents are not decreasing? Single-family homes. Let's look at that. So right here on CoreLogic's webpage, which is one of the sources that I've heard Nick cite before, you can take a look. Every single month that they release, right here they release what the rent growth rate is for single-family homes. It's a single-family rent index. And you could see that even for December, we're still looking at an 8.8% year-over-year gain. If we actually look at the article itself, and we go down, you can take a look at this chart right here. You can see that rent growth, obviously, where did we actually have decline? Back in 2008, 2009, 2010, after the Great Recession. But if we're looking right here, this is, now pay close attention to this chart. This is the growth rate. So even though you're seeing up here, the growth rate is dropping, it's still a positive growth rate. The rents are growing at 6%, 7%, 8% month over month. Just because this graph is tilting downwards does not mean that prices are declining. You actually have to break this zero line right here. This zero line is where you have to break to actually see a decline in rental prices, which we only saw after the recession of 07, 08, 09. There was a brief period where rental rates declined very small amount, 4, maybe 5%, and then they recovered shortly thereafter. I did an entire video recently, I'll put the link in the description below, on what rents actually do during a recession. And in the video, over the last 115 years that rental prices have been tracked, there has never been a 5-year period where rental prices went down, ever. There's been a brief 1, 2, maybe 3 years, like there is right here, during the worst housing recession we've ever seen. There's been a brief 1, 2, 3-year period where rents went down, they recovered quickly, and then went on to grow at significant rates after that, growing every single year, sometimes growing less, but still growing. Then we had very uncharacteristic, unhealthy rent growth rates, and now that's cooling back off. But again, his point is that investors are panicking and unable to plan for what to do with rental properties they're buying because rents are falling, they're collapsing. What are you talking about, buddy? They're not falling at a rate significant enough to even come close to impacting my bottom line, especially after we had all this rent growth, and single-family homes are still growing. But you're the expert on data, statistics, and analysis, so how come you didn't come to these conclusions? Is it because it's a better headline to say, the sky is falling? Watch my videos because everything's bad, bad, bad? That's my opinion on why you're saying these things. You got the same access to this stuff that I do. Now, if you don't have the experience I do as an investor, that might be another thing. Why is this guy an expert? Because he bought some $50 soundproofing foam, a couple of ring lights for $25 at Best Buy like I have, and a camera, and he makes videos and uploads them? Where does his credibility come from? Where's his pedigree? Why are you listening to him? He's a great YouTuber. I'll give it to him. Great YouTuber. He doesn't own any property. He's never made claims that he even owns his own house. Where does he live? He rents? Wait, what experience are you drawing from, my friend? Just reading charts is not all it's cracked up to be. If you like this video, then you need to stick around for the next in my 3-part series exposing and debunking Nick from Reventure Consulting as the fake expert that he really is. He has no business giving you advice on how to invest in real estate or purchase a home. If you want to watch the next in these series of videos, then click on this clip over here. And if you want to watch the full extended 1-hour-long dissection of his channel, then click on this clip down in the description below. I'm going to prove to you, and you're going to love what he says next, because if you aren't convinced that he's wrong yet over rent, wait till you hear him tell you how treasury notes are a better investment than real estate, and he's not going to sugarcoat it, quote, quote. His words, not mine, real estate is a bad investment.